Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another HD broadcast. Happy holidays to everybody out there who's celebrating the Christmas spirit and, of course, New Year's. I hope you guys all have a safe and happy month. And I'm actually going out to snowboarding at the mountains, obviously, tomorrow in about 5 or 6 hours. So I thought before I left, I would go ahead and bring you guys some videos of Starcraft 2. And hope you guys enjoyed this. So I'll see you guys in the mountains. I'll try to make a video if I can. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make a video while I'm snowboarding. I'm not that good, and I'm pretty much going to fall in the snow like 20 million times, and I might lose my camera. So anyways, we'll see what happens. But I hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast, because we have a game between two Terrans here, but it's not just any two Terrans. First of all, let me go ahead and introduce the red Terran down here in the bottom left-hand corner. The account he's using is Ares, but this is actually a retired Korean professional Brood War pro gamer called Park Si-jo, also known as forGG. You guys might remember forGG. If you guys followed the Brood War scene very closely back in the days, you guys know that I used to cast Brood War quite a bit. forGG gained notoriety because he was able to defeat Jaedong and then subsequently Flash. I think it was Flash and then subsequently Jaedong in the finals of the Arena MSL in 2008, and he got first place for that. Ever since then, he hasn't really gotten first place in any major tournament, but, you know, he went down in the history books as one of the most fearsome Terrans ever since that year, and he's always been a solid player since then. He hasn't actually gotten a first place like I said, but he's been a very, very solid player. And then last year, around this time, he actually announced his retirement. So he retired from Brood War, stopped playing entirely, but little did people know that in the background, he was actually playing StarCraft 2. And you guys might recall the little Kespa drama that was going on between Kespa and Blizzard for a while. Kespa banned their player. Well, look at this. We have an SCV attacking forGG's SCV here, who's gone for a command center first. But you guys remember that Kespa was banning Korean players from playing StarCraft 2 if they were under contract. And I think that might be one of the reasons why forGG decided, you know what, screw that. I'm not going to, follow that contract. I'm just going to quit Brood War and practice StarCraft 2 in my free time. And now, all of a sudden, there's been this phenomenon in the last month or so where forGG has started streaming and posting, replays of himself online, and this is one of those replays. And he has been tearing it up lately. I think currently he qualified for Code A, and he's been just playing tremendously well. He's actually using the account name Finn, interestingly enough, which I think is dumb. I love the name forGG. So. That's forGG. He's the red Terran in the bottom left, and we have a bunker rush coming out here from his opponent, who is none other than oGs Top. And oGs Top, of course, a former Code A GSL champion and also a Code S player. He also, wow, he's actually going to force the command center to lift off. oGs Top also playing against I am MVP in one of the grand finals in the GSL and losing to him in the Code S grand final. So you guys know oGs Top. He's a very solid player. And his Terran win rate, I believe, is something like 52%. Let me go ahead and pull that up for you guys. It is exactly 56%. So he has a 56% win rate in Terran versus Terran. And as you guys all know, I'm trying to pull you guys stats every single time I cast now, because I think those are pretty relevant now that the scene has been established. But forGG, of course, doesn't really have that many stats. But for what it amounts to, his Terran versus Terran win rate in Brood War was 48%. So I'm excited for this game. Obviously, you guys know that I am always on the lookout for the best replays of the week, I guess you could say, and I'm always going to be bringing you guys the highlight replays throughout the community, and that's what I'm going to be focusing my channel on from here on out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this game between two very, very top level Korean pro gamers. Now, oGs Top did go ahead and open up with a command center. Looks like he one racks expanded into 2 more racks, into a total of 3 with 2 gases, and this bunker rush. Man, this thing has paid off dividends. Look at forGG so far. forGG has not been mining out of this natural. He is actually going to be falling behind in economy very, very quickly, simply because he just doesn't have a command center landed here, whereas his counterpart Terran is already mining happily away, making quite a bit more money per minute. And even that gas also doubling up as well. So forGG needs to break this bunker. And there's only 2 Marines here. The difficulty with dealing with bunker... Look at oGs Top kind of taunting him. Come on, come into my house. The difficulty with dealing with bunkers, of course, is you don't really know how many Marines are inside it. You could actually just leave an SCV in here and it would look like a fully loaded bunker to the enemy eye, as long as those lights are on inside the building. You just really don't know. So I guess you can understand forGG's hesitation here, but do not hesitate. forGG needs to go in and make something happen here, and it looks like Top went ahead and salvaged the bunker. So he wants to save those 2 Marines, or at least one, it looks like. One of them actually going down. And now finally, after a good 4 or so minutes of delay, forGG is able to land his natural down. But man, that was really devastating. You guys can see the toll it took on his economy, just down by 6 harvesters now, and down by a good 8 supply total as well. He's trying to add on that factory, but it got scanned. He has quite a few Marines, don't get me wrong. And Terran versus Terran nowadays, really interesting dynamics in TVT are kind of going on, and it's always been the most dynamic mirror matchup, don't get me wrong. But TVT nowadays, a lot of Koreans are just bucking Marines. They almost forego tanks in the early to mid game, and they just try to go mass, for lack of a better word, Chinese infantry, and they just go all out with a bunch of upgraded Marines, and it's actually really, really effective. And we're kind of seeing that between these 2 guys right now. No tank production yet. In fact, quick medevac production for oGs Top. Oh, it looks like forGG is going to run in here, and Top already has stim. forGG doesn't have stim, and oGs Top is going to destroy this Marine count. Oh, he fell back right there to more reinforcements, but yeah, he's going to have more than enough to clean up forGG's Marines. And if forGG wasn't behind already, he is certainly behind now. He is now down by a good 17 supply or so, 18 supply now, as you guys can see, and he still is just now starting stim pack. Oh man, this is pretty devastating. Both players going for quick medevacs into their bio, so they're just going to completely forego tanks in this game, kind of the new Korean style. But at the end of the day, in Terran versus Terran, I'm still a big proponent of eventually going into tank mode. It's just inevitable, because tanks provide so much artillery support, so much of your backbone revolves around siege tanks in a Terran game. Eventually, you're going to need to make that transition into tanks, but in the early to mid game, around from here to maybe 14-15 minutes, you might just see all Marines in today's Terran versus Terran, and you know, the top pro gamers can rock it because they've got such good micro, because they know how to utilize the mobility of Marines against the lack of mobility provided by siege tanks. So, looks like oGs Top here is going to go ahead and prepare for a little bit of medevac harass, and it is going to go ahead and take the shortcut right into the main. Is there any anti-air up? It looks like, wow, forGG, great game sense, gets a missile turret up on the bottom right-hand corner of his main, and the medevac has a trajectory headed right into the missile turret. This could be bad for the medevac. The medevac's starting to take damage on the hull, and oGs Top not paying attention. He's going to lose the medevac and 8 Marines. Wow, that is a huge blow. And oGs Top, while he was ahead before, he tried to attack the bunker, and a clutch repair right there from forGG. So you guys can see Top's strategy right there, to drop the main and attack the front at the same time, hoping that forGG's forces were split apart, but forGG was all over that. Clutch timing and reaction on the repair, and you know, the missile turret is just extraordinary game sense. And just like that, mirror matchups can be so volatile. You know, you guys can see now forGG has caught up that quickly, 99 under 102, but now siege tanks are beginning to roll out, so both players have finally decided, you know what, probably don't want to get too volatile. Let's go ahead and stabilize this matchup a little bit and get the siege tanks ready to roll out. And we can see that forGG, let's take a look at the tank counts right now. We have 1 tank for forGG, 2 tanks for oGs Top, and tanks coming out 2 at a time for Top as well. It looks like forGG is also making them 2 at a time, so they are getting about the same amount of tank production here, and we are going to probably go into a trench warfare, World War I style, and this is the one thing I really like about TVTs. I haven't casted one in a while, so I thought I'd pull this out. TVTs just have awesome trench warfare mechanics. You guys can see it's going to start to set up right here, but Top has the high ground advantage, and this is a big advantage too, because if you try to run up that ramp, now there are medevacs, they can kind of spot the high ground, but just the fact that they're on the high ground and they're isolated makes it so these siege tanks are so much more powerful than the ones that forGG has, and forGG is going to try to circumvent the tank placement by going around the top here. A comsat goes down to reveal the location of Top's forces. Top realizes that comsat was going down, and he has a Marine on the Zelnaga Tower. He sees the impending flank. He re-sieges his forces, but now oGs Top is stranded. It looks like forGG's plan here is to cut off the reinforcements. He has now cut off effectively the reinforcements from oGs Top, but also forGG's got to be careful about a potential flank, and oh no, it looks like he's going to get pincered in from both sides. This could be bad for forGG. His forces are out of position. He unsieges. He realizes the folly of his mistake, and now look at this. He's stimming up. Look at oGs top. He's going to take the 2 tanks in the back as well, and no, forGG, the retired Korean pro gamer from Brood is going to get annihilated here. So he loses almost everything. Can he save the medevacs? At least one small victory out of that terrible defeat. And what is that? I didn't know there was a Zerg in this game. Okay. Maybe that was like an infested limb from a Terran or something. But forGG gets out of there with 4 medevacs out of his entire army. And look at how drastically far behind he's fallen now. 30 or so supply. And that cannot be good. oGs top now grabbing the 3rd. Production really starting to ramp up. Top is known to be an extremely solid macro player, guys. He's sort of like the I Love Uv of this generation. I Love Uv, of course, a retired pro gamer who I believe coaches for SKT1. Just a solid player because Top knows how to macro out of disadvantages. Right now, though, he's got an advantage, so he doesn't even need to rely on his solid backbone macro to get him out of sticky situations as we've seen before. forGG is relatively an unknown for me and a lot of people in the community. We really don't know what he's capable of. He's got this kind of nice little tank line set up, but oh my goodness, look at forGG. He's letting his natural get sieged up in the sweet spot by oGs top. Top tries to get the medevac in there, but the missile turret repels the medevac, and now some Marines are inside the main as well, forcing the lift off of this orbital command at the natural. And let's take a look at the income tab right now. How many harvesters have gone down? Only 3, so nothing too terrible. It looks like forGG should be able to reestablish the location here. Oh my god, he's actually going to, he's stemmed up everything right there, looking like he wanted to go ahead and attack headlong into this entrenched location, but now he's changing his mind, gonna send all of his stemmed up Marines. Speedy Gonzalez is over to the right side of the map. I'm not quite sure where he's going with his forces, and wow, he has sieged up all his tanks right here, and you know what he might be doing here? Is possibly a base trade. He's sending his Marines all the way over to the right and letting his tanks be the backbone as a defensive posture so he cannot be attacked. But now he realizes, hey, forces are moving out and his Marines could get clamped down from the left and right side. He's got to get those Marines out of there. The medevacs are going to go down. One medevac could potentially go down. Both of them going down right there, and 2 making it out alive, and siege the rest of the tanks on the high ground. And that high ground location going to help so much. Look at the carnage and debris left behind from all the Marines that just had their bodies exploded limb from limb by all the tank fire. And it looks like now forGG going to go ahead and pull back, but he still does not have any control over his natural. Look at these 4 Marines behind the mineral line at 1-2 upgrades apiece. And wow, it looks like forGG now not even going to worry about that. Going to go to the top. And Top at the top is also going to take out this location too. So he's going to siege up on the high ground. And this is almost like watching an advanced game of chess right now. Both players just plotting their next maneuvers, plotting where they should go in terms of, you know, their APM, where their forces need to be established, what position. We can see splitting of forces right now, and really it's just an advanced game of chess right now. Whoever makes a mistake could end up costing them the game, and it looks like forGG might end up losing a tank or 2 here. No, he saves it by pulling it to the back at the very last second. But my goodness, look at Top's tank production. He has got a total of 18 tanks over 14, so he's got a 4 tank advantage. forGG at 2-2 Marines. oGs top also at 2-2 Marines, so the upgrade's fairly even, and all of a sudden forGG has found a way to go to the right side. Despite the entrenched tanks on the northern position, it looks like both players are setting up to go for a base race situation here. This rarely happens in Terran versus Terran just due to the way that it's such a defensive-based game, but it looks like forGG has found a way to exploit that weakness. He's going straight into the natural, but look at this tank army. It's the Panzer Commander army from oGs top. Even though he isn't German, he's just got so many tanks. He is launching an all-out blitzkrieg right now against forGG, and forGG's entire production facility going to go down here. All of these production barracks and factories are going to fall. We can see oGs top hard at work. At the same time, forGG also doing the same thing too. And it's really just going to be a base race in Terran versus Terran. Not a very common situation at all. We do see this in Protoss versus Protoss, but not that often in TVT. Look at that orbital command. It did go down. SCVs tried to repair, but it did not work out. And it looks like forGG is going to take out pretty much everything inside the main, as his entire main has been cleaved to shreds as well. And now all of a sudden oGs Top says, you know what, I'm just going to leave a couple Marines there, and I'm going to send in all the rest of my tanks to go back into a defensive position. A lot of barracks actually made it out. This is really smart by forGG. If you're going to go into a base trade situation, these barracks are invaluable. You're going to need them to produce more units. Was Top able to save anything? We can see a couple of floating buildings, just an orbital command or two, and oh, he's making a starport with Tech Lab, so he's going to go right into Cloak Banshees. That would be really, really smart right now, considering the lack of orbital commands that are landed down. And oh no, forGG's going to lose some of his tanks as well. This could not be good for him. He's got to keep his tank count up. Anytime you're in a base trade situation, every unit so much more valuable than before, because you're so hard pressed to produce more units. In fact, we can see that really, all these barracks aren't even able to land yet. In fact, they got to find somewhere to land, but the SCV is kind of scouting that location out. So if you look in the mini-map right now, it's a little bit hectic, but both players are kind of just up in the air, utilizing the ability for Terrans to defy the laws of physics as we know it and lift off into the skies and just stay up in the air. And oh no, what is forGG doing? I don't know. It looks like he was able to pick off the frontal tank. Okay, that worked out pretty well. Look at those two tanks at 1 HP and 13 HP, so that could have gone pretty badly for him. And now, I don't know what forGG is doing. Oh my god, look at the Gauss rifles and pieces and bits of armor from the Marines just exploding in all the directions. forGG's got to be careful how he plays this out, because I think his tank count and his Marine count is considerably lower based on that supply count you guys can see at the top right. And just look at the mini-map now, it's insane! There's buildings being built everywhere, and orbital command center being built at the top, command center being built at the left, the Panzer army just waiting in the middle of the map, dominant map control, a couple of Marines killing off forGG's army, and don't forget about that Cloak Banshee being built over on the right, but the barracks are going to... they might be able to scout it. I think forGG will see it, but the question is he going to pay attention to the top right if he does, in fact, scout that location? Oh no, I don't think he's going to see it. I don't think he's going to see it, and Cloak is already done. Is there a Banshee out in the skies yet? Yes, there is actually. forGG right now in the bottom left-hand corner trying to establish a new orbital where oGs Top's natural once was, and here's the Cloak Banshee. 1 kill, 2 kills. Is there any scan ready to go? Yes, there is! Somehow, someway, forGG saves up enough energy for his scan. He only had 1 orbital this entire game, and I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And he had enough energy for his scan. And look now, both players just trying to produce out of whatever barracks they've got. And funnily enough, we have both players producing from the top left-hand corner here. Marines just kind of building one-on-one. They're just going to kill each other at the choke right here. And uh-oh, another Banshee, but it does go down. It does go down. And that actually helps forGG quite a bit in this insane base trade scenario. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, you're down in resources, you're investing heavily into Cloak and Banshees and Starport, you're building a third one right now, is oGs Top, and they really haven't paid off quite yet. So this is not working out too well for Top. He's kind of throwing away whatever army advantage he's got in this very, very close game. A couple of Marines going to go ahead and drop off and maybe pick off this orbital command depending on whether or not they sim. It looks like oGs Top coming in with another Banshee, going to start to do some damage. It looks like he's going to ward away all his tanks, and he's going to actually roll in with everything he's got here. oGs Top going to go for the jugular here, doesn't even care, wants to siege up everything, but he's on the low ground. He's got to siege up all his tanks right now. This could be a crucial mistake, but I think he's got more than enough forces to clean up these tanks, and it does look like he's going to destroy the entire army, and forGG forced into a nomadic scenario. He's got to lift off and find a new home. This orbital command should make it out of here, and meanwhile, it looks like this one did survive the little Marine drop here, and there's just skirmishes happening all over the map. Look at how many red and blue dots are next to each other, guys, on the map. We have attacks happening literally everywhere, and no doubt these players' APMs are being taxed to the maximum right now because they've got to control so many different locations at once. This is insane. I mean, this is almost damn near impossible to cast considering there's like 5 different battles happening all at once, and it looks like forGG's strategy here is, you know what, let down a little bit on the gas pedal and maybe just hunker down, set up a shop at one of the unmined expansions, and start to build up a real army rather than playing this kind of campaign-esque 1 versus 1 style where you don't even mine or build anything. So I actually really agree with that. I think that is his ticket to winning this game because oGs Top still has a formidable tank count. In fact, let's look at the units tab. He has 10 tanks. forGG has 27 Marines, and I'm sorry, 27 Marines against sieged up tanks are not going to work, although they do have mobility here. It looks like They're going to take the middle of the map, and they might be able to kill off a command center. It is burning. It is on fire. The roof is on fire. Let it burn down, and it's at 75 HP. Will he be able to finish it off or not? It looks like he is going to go ahead and get those medevacs in there. Oh man, if he drops over these sieged up tanks, that would be very, very risky. But he might be able to get a huge tank bomb, but no. Too many tanks unsieged. oGs top all over that, and forGG just itching for the kill on that command center, but is it going to get repaired? It looks like it is getting repaired by a mule down in the bottom right as the mule's life expires. So that command center will probably live. He might want to repair it one more time because it's still burning up. But this game is just absolutely insane right now. Just looking at the unit count, you'd think forGG is way far behind. I think he is way far behind it actually. He's down by 10 tanks. I'm sorry, but 10 tanks, that's a critical number. And not only that, forGG is establishing a mining location. oGs top is like a nomad right now. He has barely a semblance of a mining base. This is actually worse than what you start out with in the game of Starcraft 2. You actually start out with 6 workers. He's got 2, and 2 that expire over time. So he's still kind of floating his buildings up in the air, trying to figure out what to do here. Obviously, this is an unassaultable location. Top has, sieged up half of his tanks and left the other half unsieged, so it's very difficult for him to do a marine bomb. Oh, that's cute. A barracks scouting a medevac. The one thing that forGG's got going for him is this great map control he's got provided by the mobility of the Marines. In fact, good spread right here from his Marines. It looks like he's really going to go hunting for that